What is this? Huh? What? Yes, I will take more information, thank you very much.
Hello, this is Mr. N. Nitwit with the Department of Trading. We stopped by your facility this afternoon for a routine inspection and found that it was lacking in not only safety and other standards, but most notably the very workforce needed to make it a viable facility for players to interact with. As such, we have no choice but to shut down this facility until these requirements have been met and issues have been addressed. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We will return in 1 week for a follow-up inspection and have left you a list of the requirements we expect you to meet at this time.
What? Departments? Inspections? What is this all about? Okay, let's see. They left me some sort of information booklet here. Hopefully, I think that's what it is. Let's... Well, that may have been a quick little time lapse for you, but for me, it was right around 12 hours. Yes, you heard me right. 12 hours of the utterly soul-crushing task that is fighting with these guys. But all of my complaining aside, we're finally there. Well, we're not quite there yet. There's still, a lot of stuff to do to finish this building off. And we, of course, also still need to get workstation blocks in for the rest of the villagers. You can see most of the halls look like this right now. No dividers, no workstation blocks. We have enough slots, enough wings of this building, if you will, to do every type of villager except one, and I chose to leave out butchers. I pretty much always live off either bread or golden carrots in this game, which is what those guys right behind me are for. They're just going to be where I convert the milnons and pumpkins we get from a farm we built in a previous episode into good old golden carrots. So yeah, sacrifices had to be made on that front, but otherwise we have every type of villager in here, which some of these I don't really see myself using all that much. I may not put workstation blocks in those slots for quite a while, so leather workers, for example, I may not use cartographers. I may only do half a wing and dedicate the other half to more librarians. We'll see, but for now, this is a pretty good start. Well, hello? Dear player, congratulations. Somehow you did it. Sounds like you doubted me. This facility has passed inspection. Well, I guess that's good news. I really don't know what all this inspection business is about, but hey, glad to know we passed. Let's see. We here at the totally legitimate Department of Trading, TM. Yes, sounds very official. I'm sure you're a real place. Never believed in you. Never mind. I guess it didn't just sound that way. Yes, you may want to invest in security. I actually know what this is in reference to. I've already been inside through one of the other doors. We've got a little bit of an issue. Just a tiny one. Yep, after I finished all the detailing outside, I went AFK at our iron farm for a little bit and came back to the computer to find this.
Sure.
So we're just gonna go ahead and move along swiftly before I break down and cry. There's still several unfinished builds I want to get to in this video, and we've popped over into my testing world to talk about the next two. In a previous episode, I built that melon and pumpkin farm right over there with the intention of housing it in this structure that I designed. However, it kind of outgrew its home. But since I wound up building the farm itself underground, I think we can still put this over the top and have it as sort of a landmark where we can actually access the chests and everything, even though the farm isn't inside. But the main thing I want to show off is this gorgeous build right behind me. Now, I take absolutely no credit for this design. This comes from a post I stumbled across on Reddit by a user called DPS3. I will leave a link to that down in the description. But I just immediately fell in love with this, not only because it's such a cool little build, but also because it fits perfectly with some other plans I had sort of been going back and forth on for the area this build is going to go into, and having this there sort of solidifies my decision. I'm definitely going to do what I was considering. Now, in the interest of not having to build a prismarine farm, I have swapped out the red sandstone and the prismarine for the warped and crimson woods here, and I've also swapped out the terracotta colors for something that I think is a little bit more complementary and also easier to get. But otherwise, this is pretty much all the original build that I've just recreated block for block as well as I could from the screenshot I just showed before. The only creative addition I've made here is swapping out some of the trapdoor windows for some of the scaffolding windows. I think that little bit of variety adds to this build quite nicely, but otherwise, yeah, this is in no way mine, but I love it. But you know what? I've got a bunch of boxes full of materials put together here, so let's cue the music, quit blabbering, and get to building. And now you can clearly see that idea I was alluding to earlier when we were talking about this building here starting to take shape. Speaking of this building here, it is currently just a facade, and that's all it really needs to be. It's just here to cover up the ugly hole I made. Doesn't need to have floors, doesn't need to have an interior. At some point, I'll make a bubble vader to move the slime up into the building, but that's not really under the purview of finishing projects, now is it?
Comedy.
But we've already talked about that quite a bit, so returning our focus to the beach, yeah, we've got a beach now. And this is actually the start of another project. I know, this video is supposed to be about finishing projects, but you know what? You gotta make a mess to clean up a different mess. So yeah, I've started work here on a beach, I've put in sand, we'll probably add more sand at some point depending on how all the buildings go. I don't have all the buildings designed quite yet, but you can just imagine a whole little desert, beach, village, town type thing through here. Not all the buildings are going to be quite this big. Most of them are going to be like little huts, little beachside shops per se. But regardless of future plans, I think just as it is right now, it's already come out better than I even had pictured it in my mind, and I love the look of the mountain right next to the beach. We might have to do some sort of terraforming, especially up in this area here, to have a little bit more of a transition from snowy mountains to grassy plains to full-on beach. It's a little weird right now, but I think we can get it there.
Sleep, 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 sleep.
And if we come across the river to our storage system here, we've got a staircase up to it now from, I don't know what you call this. It's not a boardwalk, it's not a pier, it's not a dock. you know, I built it, I designed it, I don't even know what it is. Regardless of what it is, I want it to look super dilapidated and like it's something that the people who live in this village here have kind of been trying to patch together and support for years. So you can see here, this edge is sort of falling down. I maybe should have added some bits of wood down in the water. That might be a good little touch to add in. And you can see all the oak and bamboo and everything just supporting it from the bottom. We've even got some over here holding up the end of this bridge, which is also crumbling. And once again, this is a case of finishing one thing and starting another. So this little wooden walkway area here is actually the start of a project I want to do in a future video, tidying up this village here, covering up the villager breeder, improving these houses and the paths, and adding something up here like I talked about in the last episode. And then we also finished this bridge that I started, I don't even know how many months ago now. So yeah, it finally connects over to here so we can walk to our storage system up there from, say, the villager trading hall or the slime farm over there without having to swim through the water. And down below, I also finally added in bottom supports for all of these sections of the bridge, these pillars here. I completely forgot that those were just floating on top of the water, and I happened to pop down there to look at something and was like, oh, yeah, there's nothing here. The whole bridge is literally just floating on top of the water. So I corrected that, and you know, it's a tiny detail, but it makes, I think, a world of difference. The tiny details do. Oh, yeah, and we've also got grass. I don't know why, but I really love the little detail of a grass patch in the middle of our storage hall here, and now we have it. Now, something else I tried to work out was how to cover up this iron farm here, and after many iterations of different designs of buildings, I conceded that there really wasn't any way to cover it up. Anything big enough to cover this area and also be able to be spawn-proofed and everything to not mess up the farm would kind of dwarf this and take away from the grandeur of this. So I've decided we're just gonna need to move this. But it wasn't a total waste of time because I did end up with a design I'm quite happy with that we're going to build in a future episode. But of course, with all that being said, I think that is actually a pretty good place to leave things for today. This is gonna be another short episode, but I still think we got a lot done today. From starting work on a beach town with its first building, and finishing off this bridge to the villager breeder with a little pathway area, to of course finishing the massive villager trading hall I started building nearly a year ago. So let me hit you with some statistics, and then we'll end things on a time lapse of one final build. We are currently on day 1272, and I have officially eaten no cake. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back for the next one.